So, welcome everyone to this episode of Unraveling the Veil with your host, Yara Rose from the yararose.com website. That's YARAROSE.com. Welcome everyone to this episode of Unraveling the Veil. I am, as always, so excited to speak with you today. I am honestly a little nervous about the content that I am going to be speaking about. So if I start talking really fast, I apologize for that. This is going to be a very big episode for me on my own healing journey because it's going to be about authenticity and showing up as you are, shining brightly, regardless of what anyone else thinks or says or cares or comments about, which I know I've talked about throughout all of my episodes. I've talked a lot about showing up and honoring your true self and being authentic and caring more about how you feel about yourself and about your relationship with your higher source and then about how that relationship fills you with unconditional love versus trying to receive that from other human beings. I think that this is imperative because all of us human beings are here experiencing life. And as we've talked about before, we all have our own belief systems. We all have our own triggers. We all have our own hot buttons and expectations and ideals. And sometimes two people will line up so beautifully and they'll just flow together for a certain period of time. You see it a lot in relationships, right? Where two people come together and they just seem to click and they're beautiful together and you just like being around them. And then over time, somehow they both change from their own experiences or from things that have happened to them, either as a couple or separately, and they've changed. And years down the road, they wonder how they ever could have gotten along, how they ever could have felt so wonderful about each other and why they chose to marry. And then eventually they get to the point where they're like, I don't even love you anymore. I don't know how I ever did love you. And that's why there's so many divorces. And I am not saying that you cannot receive unconditional love from other human beings. I am just pointing out that it is more difficult for you to receive consistent unconditional love from other human beings who are also struggling with you than it is for you to receive that unconditional love from the source of everything. The source that's up there and sees everything and knows everything and cares about you so unbelievably much that no one could ever care about you that much. And if you can fill yourself from that source every day, then it makes living down here in this reality so much easier because that source energy and that source love, that unconditional love is always there. It's never wavering. It never changes. And by using that as your source of fuel, you will never run out. It's an unending source of fuel, always replenished, always refreshed. And for me, that has become my ultimate goal. As I say this, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, where is she going with this? Today, I want to talk about myself and Yara Rose a little more, how I created it, what it was meant for. When I first created yararose.com, I really truly just wanted other people like me that had come to this point in their life where they didn't see the point in it and they didn't see any way out or how they were ever going to make it to that next day, let alone 3 months from now. I wanted them to be able to know that there are other options than simple, I don't even know, like Western medicine maybe, or therapy. I wanted them to understand that there's more to life than what maybe they had experienced so far. I've talked about my 3 angels, my 3 earth angels that were sent to help me get out of my hole. I've talked about how important adding that spiritual component to my daily life has been. And I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm assuming that you are interested. Otherwise, you wouldn't still be listening to me talk. As I've started to grow and my gifts have become stronger, more and more interesting things have come to me. My life has changed in the most unexpected ways. Sometimes my husband and I lay in bed and I just go, I don't even know how I got here. Like, I never would have expected my life to have taken this turn. I never would have expected to be going about my daily business and having a spirit come to me out of nowhere, trying to get me to help them with something. I just never did. And I'll tell you what, they have been coming in full force lately. Like, I'm constantly seeing spirits that are wanting me to help them, and they're wanting me to communicate messages to those of you that are still here. And it's so interesting because I tell them, I'm like, I don't know why you're here. I don't know who you are, and I don't know who these people are that you want me to give messages to. Spirit, hey, like, you need to send the people here first so that way they can actually hear the messages. It doesn't do me any good to hear that, to have the spirits here wanting me to find the people. But I think that that's been somewhat of the point that Spirit's been trying to make in my life recently, is that there are so many of you people out there that are seeking this. There are so many of you out there that are curious about life with the non-physical, about, is there more than what I see, what I've experienced? Are my family members still with me? Am I here for something greater than waking up in the morning and going to work and taking my kids here and watching this event and continuing on for the next how many years until I can finally have the golden age of retirement? And then what next? There are so many of you here that are just like, I don't understand. Like, what is the purpose of all of this? And I don't know if you follow any psychics or mediums or whatever, but I've been watching a lot of videos on how amazing and beautiful and healing the conversations between a medium and a client and their spiritual family is. Because we have all of these questions when someone dies. We always wonder, like, do they see that wedding that I have coming up? Were they there for my high school graduation? Did they see how this guy was going to treat me? All of these things that we feel like they really missed out. I'm so bummed that they missed out on that. And the truth is, they're not missing out. They're there with you. And more than likely, they are sending you certain signs that you may or may not be receiving. But I'm here to tell you today that they are there and they are seeing you and they would love to let you know. So just ask. Oh, perfectly acceptable for you to say, hey, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, cousin, sister, brother, whatever. I have this big thing coming up. If you could send me a pink unicorn or whatever it is, an orange or something that has significance between the two of you and your relationship together, between now and then, that'd be great, just so that I know that you're there. They will do that. They will bend forwards and backwards to communicate with you. They want to continue communicating with you. Even though they may not be here in the physical form, they still want you to be there. And they don't want you to live your life feeling like because they've passed, you're missing something or they're missing something, or full of regrets or anger or heartache because of unresolved issues. Because something I have learned personally and by watching other people go through this experience is that when they die, they see everything, they experience their life again from their perspective. And then they also see how all of these different actions that they took in life impacted other people. So they know how their actions impacted you. And good or bad, whatever it is, they do know that. And they want to let you know that they know that and that they love you and that they are still with you. And in some cases, they do want to let you know that they're sorry. And sometimes that communication between those three parties that I mentioned earlier is so unbelievably healing, because you finally get that validation that, hey, even though dad was never around and he had this stuff going on and I felt like he didn't love me and he didn't care about me, you finally get that validation that you're right, I wasn't around and I'm sorry and I do love you and I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you. And that sometimes is enough to change your entire life experience moving forward. When I first started being able to talk to spirit, I was thrilled. I love speaking with my grandparents. I love hearing all their words of encouragement and receiving their advice and telling me to go for it, or hey, it's all right, you fell a little bit, but that's okay. That's so important to me. It feels so good because I know that they can see everything I'm trying to do. They can see everything that I've done. They can see how things are impacting me, and they know what's ahead for me. And that consistent encouragement is amazing. But when I was told by them to share my gifts with my family, I was terrified because there's perceptions around people that can speak to spirits, and it's not necessarily the greatest. There can be a lot of negative connotations with it, and around the area where I grow up, it's not talked about very much, and it's not accepted as much as it is in other areas. So that, in combination with my past of being constantly judged and criticized and bullied, I was terrified, and I did not want to do it. I remember fighting my grandma every step of the way, being like, I do not want to do this. My stomach feels sick. I don't feel good. I do not want to do this. And she said, you have to do this, and you can do this, and you're going to feel better after you do this. This is who you are. This is your ability. This is your family. And if they can't accept you the way you are with your abilities and for who you are, then that's their problem. It's their loss. But you need to show up, and you need to be who you are, and you need to be honest with yourself and honest with everyone else about who you are. And I did. I sent that message, hey, this is what's going on in my life. I've developed these abilities, and I'm starting to take classes to be able to help other people to enrich their lives in a more positive and beautiful way with the emotion code healing that I do, with the Reiki healing that I do, with just general life coaching, and sometimes receiving messages from beyond. I don't have any control over whether those come through or not. That's spirit. But I do have full and total trust in spirit and their ways and how they work. And I am certainly a employee of the higher power. And then after I did that, they wanted me to create this website. And I did create the website, but I also used a pseudonym of Yara Rose, which you obviously know. And for the longest time, I would only post spiritual things on Yara Rose. When it came to my personal social media, I wouldn't post any of those things. I would post the positivity and all of that stuff. I was honestly terrified to post anything about being able to speak with spirit or those gifts and abilities with anyone on my personal account because I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want them to judge me, and I didn't want them to judge my family based on this skill or this ability or this gift from God and higher power that I received. And over time, I kept working on releasing things and releasing past trauma and growing and being willing to be more authentic every day. And I finally got to the point, I don't remember when, a couple years ago, or maybe it was just last year, I don't even remember, but where I would post the same things on both of my social medias, and it wouldn't really matter which one. I would just feel like whatever I was on that day, that's what I would post, and I would post it wherever I decided to post it. It was interchangeable. And I realized that even though I am still terrified to admit this out in the general population, I felt like honoring myself was more important than the fear of what other people would think. And in the last 2 months, I've been experiencing a lot of throat chakra issues, and it all boils down to I am choking myself. I'll get into these conversations, or I'll get into this frame set where I feel like my throat's starting to close up and I can't breathe. And when I tune into it and I meditate on it, it has to do with the fact that Yara Rose is still Yara Rose. And I hadn't said out loud, like, my name is Katie Mosier. It is. And Katie Mosier and Yara Rose are the same thing. They're the same person. And I feel so much better admitting that. I feel so much better saying, hey, this is who I am. And it doesn't even make any difference to you people. But I kept having this thing where how could I create this brand and this website based on authenticity and asking all of you to be authentic to yourself and to love yourselves enough that you could be authentic and you could show up and be yourself and love yourself no matter what everyone else was saying. I wasn't willing to say my name in relation to my business out loud everywhere. How could I do that? And it's taken a lot of steps to get to the point where my name is Katie Mosier. I am also Yara Rose. I have a healing website. I have a website that I'm so very proud of. On this website, I have so many amazing experiences that I have had with the non-physical and releasing limiting beliefs and patterns and cycles and healing myself from the inside out, and how beautiful and wonderful that is, and how by doing that and by taking the time and being willing to do that internal work, I have created a life where I have this amazing connection with spirit that has given me the most profound inner peace that I could ever explain. It's just beautiful and it's wonderful and it's who I am and it's what I do. And that's what I'm passionate about, is sharing with you that if I can do it, anyone can do it. And it takes a willingness and a dedication to caring more about who you are and what's going on inside of you, why it's going on. It takes you having to become your own personal investigator. Why am I feeling this way? Do I want to feel this way? What's triggering this? Is this a pattern I want to hold? Is this one I want to take care of? Is this one I want to clean up? It takes a willingness to do that, and it takes courage, because some of those things that you have going on inside of you have been there for a long time. And when you touch on them, they can become such an uncomfortable emotional storm within your entire system, your entire body. You feel it. It doesn't feel good. You feel the energy around it and you don't want to touch it. And your first reaction, or at least mine was, is to run away or numb yourself out. You want to do anything you possibly can to get out of that emotional storm. But if you can stop yourself from doing that, and you can sit with yourself and love yourself through it and see yourself through it, it's the most amazing and most rewarding experience you'll ever have. Because the short-term discomfort is worth sitting through to achieve the long-term peace, love, and acceptance and self-forgiveness that you give yourself by doing these things and by doing this work. I will never forget the time when I witnessed my positive mindset and my negative mindset cycle clash into this huge emotional storm. It was one of the most awe-inspiring experiences I can think of to date. It was after I had been down the road of trying to consciously change my mindset from one of negativity and realism, as I like to call it, to a more positive, grateful mindset. And one night, my husband and I had gotten in a fight about something. I can't even recall what that was, but he had went to the bedroom and I decided to sleep on the couch. And as I'm lying on the couch, I feel my shame energy and cycle start playing. You're worthless. Why are you even here? What are you here for? All you do is cause pain and destruction, and you're a terrible person. What are you doing here? Why are you even still here? And I sat back in the seat of consciousness and I just watched the cycle come up and just play through my mind over and over again, just abusing it. And all of a sudden, out of the other side, I feel this beautiful, loving energy come. And all of the positive things that I had started saying to myself daily: you are enough. You are enough just by being you. You don't have to accomplish anything. You don't have to have any special gifts. Just by being here and showing up, you are enough, and you are worthy, and you are loved, and you are love, and you are sharing love where you go. And I watched these two energies, these two cycles that had been playing out in my life, fight and battle. And when all the dust settled, I had the most intense inner peace I have experienced in my life. And I just felt amazing and loved and cherished and worthy. And that moment was so beautiful. And it gave me the opportunity to see so clearly how we impact our lives and how we create the lives that we want and how we can change what the story is that we tell ourselves and how we operate. And that all of this work, the positive intentions, the clearing I had done, the sessions with my life coach, and the experiences with spirit, all of it coalesced into this most amazing and beautiful experience of my life. And I was so grateful to A, have been able to witness it, and B, be able to see how wonderful and phenomenal it can be when you choose which energy you want to run your life, where you want to focus, and how you want to be. When I first started yararose.com, it was simply to share with you that it's possible to get out from the daily grind, that there's more to it than that, that it's not waking up every day with this dark depression, running on the hamster wheel life, that there's more to it if you want. And now, however many years later it's been, my goal with Yara Rose is to not only show you that, but help you get there in your life. I am offering life coaching sessions to talk to you one-on-one about where your focus is and what you're struggling with and how your cycles are impacting that, and how if you shift your thought around whatever that issue is that you're struggling with just slightly, and you open yourself up a little bit to working with the non-physical and with the universe as opposed to grinding against it, how drastically your life can change. And I offer energy healing services. These are the services like emotion code and Reiki, and there's also, I don't have it on there yet, but there's also one I do where I connect with you on a spiritual level, and I try to go in with my spirit guides and help you release deeply ingrained belief patterns. And these energy healing services, I feel, are complementary to the life coaching services, because we can talk one-on-one all day long about shifting your focus and shifting your focus and shifting your focus. And you'll try, and it will work to a certain extent. It will, because I've been there and I've done that. But there's also these invisible emotional patterns and cycles that are playing out in your system. To me, in my experience, feel almost like a invisible brick wall. You have the conscious beliefs and the conscious willingness to move through and not do that same thing that you've always done, but you've got these strong patterns that are behind the scenes operating things, and all of a sudden, before you even realize it, you're back up to the kitchen cupboard eating that chocolate that you didn't want to eat, or you're talking to that coworker about how terrible the situation was, even though you promised yourself you weren't going to focus on how terrible the situation was. It's the invisible walls behind the scenes that the energy healings help you to break down and release. And together, I feel like they make a great package. So I have some packages where they're together, or you can buy them in single, you could buy life coaching and then you can buy energy, whatever you feel. I feel like together, they will help you in the most beautiful and wonderful ways if you're willing to take that step. That is currently my goal with Yara Rose, is to also offer you the tools and techniques and assistance to help you create the life of your dreams and to be a more deliberate creator with the experiences that you are having in life. If this is something that you're interested in, please go to my website. Please check them out. Please see what would resonate with you, because you don't have to live your life on the hamster wheel. You don't have to live your life being driven by all of these old cycles and patterns that are no longer serving you. You have other options. I can help you, or there's other people out there that can help you. There are so many different healing modalities and services. Just keep trying until you find the one that works for you, because you are worth it. You are beautiful. And you can have the most wonderful experiences on this earth, in this life, the life that you have right now, if you want to. You can turn everything around. It can start today. It can start tomorrow. It can start whenever you are ready. If that's what you choose, if that's what you're looking for, if that's what you're seeking, this is your sign. Yes, you can have it. You can have the life of your dreams. You can create deliberately. You can turn your life into something amazing and beautiful and wonderful. And you can wake up every day and be excited that there is a brand new day in front of you, full of opportunities and magic and fun and excitement. Learn to play with the universe. Learn to play with the non-physical. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how much fun it is to play with the non-physical. It's not always these huge things either. It's not, hey, you need to do this, or you have to do this, or hey, do this. Sometimes it's simple as doing paperwork and all of a sudden seeing a number that has significance to you occur, reoccur, and reoccur, and reoccur. And it just makes you smile, because you know that your guides are with you and they are sending you a nudge, or a high five, or whatever, a smile maybe. Or you're thinking a really good thought and all of a sudden you see out of the corner of your eye your favorite bird fly across the window, and it's like, oh, there they are. There's my non-physical, ready to play with me, ready to have magic. Let's go. Let's create. And some of the most beautiful and wonderful days I have are the days where I'm like, I don't really have anything going on. And I say to my spirits, I say, okay, let's have a really fun an exciting day today. I'm just going to follow whatever inspired action you give me, and we're just going to keep going, and I'm going to see what kind of wonderful and fun day we can have together. By setting this intention and being open and willing to see what kind of experiences you put out in my day, let's do this. And I have some of the most fun and easygoing and fast and great days. And it's nothing big. It's just, hey, go out for a walk right now and I'll see amazing and beautiful things in nature, or I'll feel that sun on my skin and it will just reinvigorate me and refresh me and revitalize me. And then I'll come in and my favorite song will be on the radio and I'll jam out to that and have a little dance party. And it's just enjoying life in the moment that you're in it. That makes the biggest difference. And it's so fun. And it reminds you that life is supposed to be fun. Life is meant to be fun. You came here to be a creator, to see what kind of wonderful cutting edge experiences that you can have while still learning these amazing lessons and co-creating with the universe and the non-physical. A couple of days ago, I saw this quote online and I loved it. And it says, "Being our messy, imperfect, authentic selves helps create a space where others feel safe to be themselves too. Your vulnerability can be a gift to others." And I shared it and I said, this is a life goal, because for me, it truly is a life goal. I am showing up here in front of you today in my imperfect authenticity. I am going to tell you that my name is Katie Mosier. I've been working on these abilities and I have these techniques and I have these skills that I've been working with Spirit on. I am a complete, fully loving and trusting member of the spiritual community. I let them guide me in every way with my life and also with all of my sessions. They are truly always Spirit-led. And I am proud of that. And I know that if you choose to embark on this journey with me, that Spirit and I will do our personal best to promote the healing within you that you are seeking. I really hope that you enjoyed listening to this podcast with me today. I hope that if you got nothing else out of it, you understand the power of being authentic and truly showing up in the world and being willing to shine and being yourself. This is truly my hope for you, and I wish you all the best. With all of my love, Yara Rose.